ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this first day of December 2025 as the year just keeps flying on by. I am joined, of course, with Scooter, and Showtime Sir will hopefully be joining us again. She's having some audio difficulties that she's trying to get figured out. So we'll see here. Hopefully she can figure that out and join us. But Scooter, how are you doing on this fine Monday evening?
Doing great. I don't know, what is it, 42 degrees outside? It's December 1. It's cold, and here we go. It's going to get crazy.
We
So
got
let's get crazy.
We got you by 12 degrees here in good old Ohio, so we're up to we're down to 30 degrees already. So, but we're gonna get much snow. We're supposed to get some. I think we're supposed to get some more though tonight. So we'll see what happens tonight. What happens or doesn't happen. So, but anyway, folks, welcome. How was your Thanksgiving?
Mine was fantastic. Family, friends, quite a bit of wine, and of course the turkey too. So, way too much football.
Way too much football. Yeah, I think we had the same thing happen there too, but it was good times for sure. It was a little bit smaller crowd this year, which I'm always was pretty excited about actually, just to have a little bit smaller crowd with Teddy's arrival pending later this week. We decided just to keep this one a little bit smaller this year. So I was not upset by that at all. So, but welcome everyone. We hope you're ready for the show. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started. There were a few anthems over the weekend, but I thought about this a little bit, and the one that was in Detroit was phenomenal. She did a great job. I'll get into that a little bit more, but I decided that, because originally when I decided to start the whole rankings was going to be a big game ranking, and I decided that a regular season Thanksgiving game didn't necessarily qualify as a big game to go onto the chart, but it was a good anthem, so I'll talk about it, but it's not going to go onto the official chart just because to me, yes, it's just a regular season NFL game. So it didn't quite meet that threshold of a big game to go onto the list, in my view anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, but because or else I'd have to put every anthem that I hear on a game, and that would just then the list would just continue to grow and be endless. So I decided that no, we're gonna limit it to just big games.
I mean, it makes sense. I get it. But, it's Thanksgiving Day. But there are 3 Thanksgiving Day games. So it's like, okay, it was game 1.
Right. Exactly. So, and that was the only one, honestly, that I saw the anthem for, because the other games that we did flip back and forth between some different stuff. Like, like I have to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles on Thanksgiving Day. That's just a must. So, that one we watched in between some stuff too. But the one that was most talked about, I think, was the one in Detroit that CeCe Williams did. Her vocals were amazing. I gave her a 10 on the vocal part. Now, it was a long anthem. I don't know what it is with Detroit Thanksgiving games. I think that the one everyone remembers is the Aretha Franklin one that went on for, I think, about 6 minutes that she did. So, but this one was long too. And I like them shorter. I'll be honest. I like it when they just come out and sing and they're not too crazy long. But her vocal range was stunning. So she still got a 45 because she got a 10 on everything vocal wise. I did knock her down to a 6 though, as far as for time, because it was too long for me.
Yeah, I watched that also. I thought she did an excellent job. You're right about the vocals getting everything. Incidentally, I agree 100% too. It was, I don't want to say too long because you should do the anthem you want to do, but I think I noticed that it moved a little slower than normal. We noticed that.
Yeah, see, and if you notice it, then that to me means it was too long. So that's the way I always look at that. But it's still, she did a great job vocal wise. Like I would take that anthem all day long if I was there live. So a little fun to start us off with today. So now let's get into this, and not too much happened this weekend in college football and then the NFL on Sunday. So and Thursday and Friday, but so we'll just talk about it a little bit here. So let's get into, I think, probably the big news topic before we even break down the games. Lane Kiffin does officially leave to go to LSU. I don't know why I added an extra E there, but we did. So he leaves to go to LSU. What do we say about this? He wanted to stay to quote, to coach for them during the run here that they're going to have in the playoff. The athletic director said thanks, but no thanks, which I get. I understand that. Like, if he's already was trying to get the coaches to go and leave, you're going to give them a month extra around these players to have them decide, if they want to stay or go. I get the athletic director saying, "Nah, we're going to be good. We're going to move on." Um, I think it's just, I don't know. I think he could have built a legend in Ole Miss and was heading that way to just go to another SEC school. I mean, what can't he do at Ole Miss that he can do at LSU? And I don't know that there's a good answer to that. I really don't. I mean, they're both SEC schools. He would have to, if they run the table, he's going to be in the college football playoff. Unless he thinks it's for whatever reason he can get better players at LSU that he just can't get to Ole Miss money wise. I'm sure it's all about money, but you know, I don't know. I don't like it, but then again, I admit, I am biased from my Raider Lane Kiffin days when he was terrible there. So I probably have a little bit of bias towards him and wanting him to fail. Um, but I do feel bad for the kids at Ole Miss because I think it's a shot to them with some of the stuff that he said on his way out of what of what the players did there this year. But what are your thoughts on it, Scooter?
Well, I mean, I don't. Is anyone surprised at all if we said last year at this time that, oh, you know what, Lane Kiffin's going to get to the new open LSU job? Like we'd be like, yeah, okay, we get it. That's probably what he's going to do at some point. So he did it again. I mean, how many teams has he been with? He's been with a bunch of them. I mean, I think his only real success so far, he is a Conference USA champion 1 year, I believe. And that's every conference is difficult. You got to play who you got to play, but so far as a head coach, that's his only championship. I do want to congratulate him on becoming the highest paid state employee of the state of Louisiana. He overtakes Brian Kelly, who is the old owner of that record. So whatever amount it is now, if it's like $10 million or something like that, it's a lot of money.
It is. I think it's 37 million that he's getting, like 12 million a year there. And hey, LSU got who they wanted or who they think is going to be the guy. I just don't know. I don't know if I want him to succeed there, to be honest with you. And it'll be interesting, and maybe we'll see what effect this has in our rankings when we get to that point. How does the committee view Ole Miss now? And Ole Miss immediately, I was trying to look up the guy's name. They immediately hired their defensive coordinator not to be an interim head coach. He's going to be the guy, moving forward. So they did not waste any time at all in who, and who they bring in. Which I like. I like that for the school. I think it's important for them to have somebody that's with some continuity that they can go. Pete Golding is the guy's name that they promoted to be the head coach. So we'll see how the committee treats this too as we get further into this and how we treated it. Did we treat it any differently? I'll honestly say for me, no, I didn't, because I think the players, and I'm sure Pete, the new head coach, is gonna, if he's got bulletin board material now to get these guys fired up to play every game, so I think it's going to be interesting to see how the team reacts. I have a feeling that they should react very angrily towards this, and I think they're going to be a tough out for whoever gets them now in that first week matchup.
Yeah, I don't think that they should move them up or down anywhere just because of this. I know it would probably take away from it a little, but you're just, the defensive coach is coming in and taking care of he's becoming the head coach. So I don't think they'll get knocked down any. They shouldn't be knocked down for this, but we'll see how the players react to it. I haven't seen any information yet about their reactions, the players or anything. Maybe it's been coming out, but I haven't seen anything, so I don't know their thoughts on how this would play out. Knowing them, they're probably going to be pretty professional about it. Probably maybe a little emotional, but pretty professional about it. Being like, we're looking forward to what's coming up next. So,
agree. I think that's my hope that they'll do. So we'll see how this all plays out as we get closer, to next week when the final rankings come out. And well, I guess we'll actually we'll have an idea, tomorrow when the rankings come out, if they're gonna knock them down any now because Lane Kiffin's no longer there. You would think that they would do it this time as opposed to next week. But one thing over these years, and I know Duval Paul can attest to this from that time when Florida State was in it, and then all of a sudden they're out. I don't know how much you can put into these pre-rankings from this committee. All that matters is their final one, and a lot they can change on between now and then.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into some of the games. We'll get into these ones here that had the playoff implications the most. We'll kind of start with the ones that these were the teams that pretty much had to win, and they did win. Oregon wins, BYU wins, Miami wins. They took out Pitt. Vandy beats a really good Tennessee team, and kind of pulled away from them in the second half. And then Virginia got a win against Virginia Tech. So all these guys win to stay in line and to stay in there and to keep their hopes of getting in. I think for Oregon's sake, with only one loss, that probably guarantees that they're going to be in. I just can't see any way for them to be out. BYU, we'll talk about them probably a little bit later. Miami, same thing. I just think, and for Vandy, same thing. I think for those, it's going to be hard. We'll get into Virginia and the whole ACC stuff here a little bit later too. But for most of these schools, they did what they had to do, to stay alive.
But they did what they had to do. There's no question about that. And yeah, how much? I mean, some of them did it by a nice margin, but I don't know how much blowing people out is going to matter so much at this point. It's all about the wins and losses.
Yep, and then the one loss that definitely took a team right out of the picture is SMU. They were in line to face Virginia in the ACC championship game. They go out to Cal. Cal knocks them off 38-35. So they were 21 in the latest poll. They'll clearly be out of the top 25 of that now, and they have really no chance at all. So it's just a bad loss for SMU.
Yeah, no one saw that one coming. Except, Cal people probably saw it coming.
Right. Then we get to the other big ones over the weekend. Of course, Georgia takes care of Georgia Tech. Kind of a weird game. Only one touchdown was scored in it. Georgia played well enough to beat Georgia Tech, but I wouldn't say that they were impressive in this victory. But they won. So I mean that's all that matters. As the old Al Davis says, just win, baby, and that's what they did.
And that's all that matters. That game is going to be tough too. Georgia Tech's a tough team. I see them, recently sort of falter a little bit, but I obviously Georgia's a really great team, and you knew it was going to be a battle going on in this one. And Georgia Tech's a 23rd ranked team.
Yeah,
so
and that was a must win for them. I mean, Georgia Tech had to win that game if they had any shot of getting into the playoff. And so I'm not surprised that it was a tougher game than probably what maybe some thought it would be.
But that Georgia win, I mean, that's a legit win right there.
It was. I agree 100%. Mm-hmm. And then the big one, in my view, there's still no better rivalry in college football. I know some, you want to make an argument for college basketball and UNC Duke. Okay, I'll hear that. But as far as football goes, I'm sorry, nothing beats Ohio State, Michigan. Just how these two fan bases get before the games, during the games, and even sometimes after the games. I was a little nervous when this thing started. Michigan went right down the field on a couple plays, and then Ohio State's defense held up. And then, so they make Michigan kick a field goal, and then Ohio State, Sayan throws an interception on his second pass of the game, puts Michigan in great field position, but they do not get a touchdown. So what should have probably been 10-14 nothing Michigan was only 6 nothing Michigan. And then from there, the Ohio State offense finally gets going. There's the controversial touchdown, or did he fumble for the touchback that Smith has, that they called the touchdown on the field. I think people were applying too much of the whole, he'd already had possession of the ball, so he didn't have to get a foot in bounds. All he needed was possession of the ball across the goal line, which he did have. And then he started to fumble again, and then he gets it back again, and then his foot comes down on the sideline. But at one point in time, he had his hands firmly on the ball in the end zone, and that's all you need. It was a touchdown. And then from there, they just dominated the second half. So they, Ryan Day gets the monkey off the back of beating Michigan 27-9. My favorite part of this game was the fact that the Michigan players immediately went to defend the M in the middle of the field, and Ryan Day just got all of his players to go over to the Ohio State section. So you see them up there celebrating with the fans, and Michigan players are surrounding the M looking like a bunch of idiots, in my view.
My favorite part of the whole game was early in the game. I had this really good friend of mine who he wanted to have Coach Day fired immediately, which was great. I love Ohio State fans.
Well,
and the whole time everyone else said they're so much better than Michigan, and they're going to beat Michigan.
I can't. Well, I may or may not have had a random Facebook post that when it was 6-0 about my theories on Ryan Day and his non-ability to be able to beat Michigan because it was
Yeah.
looking like that again, and then finally, the talent just took over, and that what was scary too is they put a stat up in that game when Ohio State was down 6-0. That was their largest deficit of the year. They haven't even been
Oh,
trailing the
wow.
game by 7 points. Like it's 6 was their largest deficit of the year. So, in theory, I guess they show that they can come back because that's the other thing. Well, can they come back? Now granted, it wasn't the fourth quarter that they were down. They just dominated the second half. And the scary part, I think, for the rest of the college football is that Ohio State's found a running game with Bo Jackson and a couple of these other guys in the backfield. And you add in running games where now teams can't just say, okay, we're gonna double team Tate and Smith on the outside and make you beat us. Well, now you can't do that because now you're leaving the middle of the field open for these run attacks, and they're starting to figure out, hey, we can run the ball. Add that in with the defense, and that I don't think that's a good thing if you're a fan of anyone other than Ohio State.
See how Indiana takes deals with them next week.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. I am sure of that. And then, of course, the upset of all not upsets of all upsets, but it's the upset that is going to create some havoc because if you're a fan of Notre Dame, if you're a fan of Vanderbilt, if you're a fan of Oklahoma, if you're a fan of one of those teams that were 8 through 12, you wanted Texas A&M to just win this game to take Texas completely out of the talk, and you also want Texas A&M to win this game so that they get that automatic bid for the SEC. Now, Texas A&M, who's still going to get in clearly, but they're out of the SEC championship game because they lose this game. They're now taking one of those spots. So if you were one of these 2-loss teams, hoping that your 2-loss team is going to get in, there's one less spot for you with this loss.
That's right. And this was the one that we didn't see that one coming. So yeah, good on Texas. They took care of business, and Texas A&M did not.
Yep. And now the whole talk of Texas is can they get in with the 3 losses that they've had? And and look, they already started their stuff with talking about, well, we played Ohio State, and that's true. One of the losses is to Ohio State early in the season, and it's the first week of the season. But you also still lost to Florida. Like your loss to Ohio State does not take away the fact that you still lost to Florida. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Last year, the committee did not take a 3-loss Alabama team. Now, we'll talk about Alabama and their possibility of getting in this year with 3 losses because that could happen, but they're going to be playing an extra game with playing in the SEC championship game now. So I think that's a little bit different argument to make when you're playing game 13 and you have 3 losses as opposed to 12 games and you have 3 losses. So we'll get more into that later, but it does create an interesting dilemma for this committee about, do you let a 3 Texas loss team in? But then again, like I say, if you're taking them in, who are you taking out? And that's what we'll get into a little bit later, I guess. Okay. All right. So with that being said, let's take a look at the conference championship. So again, and this is important to remember, and this is why I'm only going to talk about 6 of them. And the reason being is that there are 5 automatic bids into the 12-team college football playoff, and that's determined by the committee, whoever they determine the top 5 conference champions to be. All right, so those are the 5 schools that are guaranteed bids. And if you've been watching Drive Time, that's why you've seen us put our 5 teams that would be those automatic bids in parentheses, as far as that way you know who we think is winning which of those 5 conferences to get in. So we'll start with the American. North Texas 11-1 will play at this time 24 ranked Tulane 10-2. This seems like this is going to be an automatic bid team because in all the previews, whoever they have had winning this conference title is the team that seems to be in that 12th spot in the rankings. So the committee seems to have this conference champion is going to be in. I think more than likely, whoever does win this game should be in. I mean, it seems like Tulane's ranked, but North Texas was ranked earlier. They still only have 1 loss. So it seems like the winner of this game is getting in, has at least the 12th seed.
It could be, yeah. I mean, North Texas and Tulane, 2 really good schools. We'll see what happens. Now you're looking at what happens in these championship games, between which I think what you're going to roll out next.
Would you be talking about the Sun Belt with Troy and
Oh,
JMU?
that could be the one I was thinking of. We didn't even plan this, folks. We're just on the mental.
Yeah. So this is the other big one for that fifth spot because JMU is sitting there at 11-1. Their only loss is at Louisville, so it's a Power Five school. And they do play Troy in this championship game, which, if you remember, way back early in the season, Troy went into Clemson and beat them. So Troy's a tough team. It would then put JMU at a 12-1 spot. And if you've been watching Drive Time, you know that Scooter, Showtime, Sarah, and I, we kind of have had JMU in this 12th spot as the team that should be in. So, I don't think anything that we've seen lately. I mean, JMU kicked the rear end out of Coastal, which was one of their rivals, and they beat them pretty handily. But the committee doesn't seem to agree with us three right now, but maybe this game changes that.
Yeah, I think those two games are a big deal. So if you want to watch two games this weekend, those are the two you should watch. I mean, the other ones will be big too, but these are the ones that you would normally not watch that you should watch.
Yeah, I think they could definitely determine spots in the rankings. And North Texas Tulane is Friday night. I'm pulling up real quick. I think they are the only ones of these conference championships that are on Friday night, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's Friday night on ABC at 8 p.m. And then the Sun Belt one, I don't know, what is that one on? That should be on something here. Let me look here at that one real quick. I meant to have it up here. That is going to be on 7 p.m. also Friday night on ESPN. So Friday night, both of these championships go down at 7 o'clock on ESPN and 8 o'clock on ABC. So these two seem to be that. And then this creates the other fun one, which is Duke. Somehow, and I don't know how this is, I don't know how ACC did their tiebreakers because there were four teams that all had two losses in the ACC. Somehow Duke won the tiebreaker over SMU, Miami, and I think the fourth team was Louisville. I don't know how that all worked out, shaped out, and how they determined. And what the funny part is that, oh no, it was Pitt, I think. But we knew Pitt was going to fall out of the top 25 with their loss, to Miami. I don't know how Duke ended up being this team that won the tiebreaker somehow of the five teams that were 6-2, but they do. Duke is 7-5 on the year. They went 6-2 in the ACC, so they get the luck of playing Virginia. In theory, this could be the automatic bid, but again, there's nothing that says that the committee has to take the top four power conference schools. It's just that they have to take five conference champions. So you could, in theory, see a scenario that if Tulane wins and JMU wins, and they have these guys ahead of Duke, who pulls off an upset against Virginia, that you are looking at a 12-team field with no ACC team in it.
And this is where this is interesting, where it comes into play. That would only happen if Duke were to win.
Correct.
And then, yes. I mean, you're going to get, the two champions just rolling down here. I mean, right. You're going to get them by taking both of those spots. So it could be North Texas and JMU or Tulane and JMU. We had no one from the UCC.
And I admit, I do sometimes like chaos. And being a guy that went to Kent State, went to a mid-major school, I love rooting for the mid-majors to just get a chance against the big boys. And I'd love to see somehow both whoever wins the American and JMU get in. Now, we all know what will immediately start happening. The SEC folks, and they've already been crying. I've seen so many social media posts. Oh, there should be 7 SEC teams in the 12-team field and blah, 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 blah. Like, all right, get over yourself. Like, you're not getting 7 teams in the 12-team field. I do think, though, a point that Midnight Rider made, which is definitely true, is this is going to be a great way for the SEC we're going to end up with 16 teams. Let's just be honest. Like we're heading there. Maybe not for next year, but somewhere down the very near future, we're going to have 16 teams in here.
Yeah, I mean, that could be because these teams are showing themselves to be good. And they spend a lot of money in their programs. So
I agree. All right, we're going to try to see if Showtime is she's at least back here, so we're going to bring her on stage. She's eating, so hopefully she can hear us and know to finish swallowing here before I bring her in. All right, the moment of truth, Sarah. Can we hear you?
Yeah, but it's on my phone.
No,
Hey,
it's okay.
we got you at least. You're here. That's half the battle. All right. Any of this stuff that we've chatted about, Sarah, that you want to chime in on, we're going to give you a quick moment to talk about. If you want to go back and talk about Lane Kiffin, you can. If you want to talk about any of the games from this weekend or the fun possibility of an ACC champion not getting into the playoff, go ahead, go for it.
Okay. I wasn't on the Lane Kiffin part, but from what I've heard, obviously they're not letting him coach playoffs. But was that his decision to not coach the playoffs, or is that the team's decision to, like, once he's done, he's done?
It was the team decision to let him go. He did say that he wanted to stay and coach, but the athletic director said thanks, but no thanks.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I get it. Obviously, it's probably going to affect their playoff run because he's taking 4 coaches with him. But I don't know if there's like a scenario where this has happened where after a coach decides to leave, if he stays to coach the playoffs. From what I've heard, I'm not exactly shocked that this is coming from Lane Kiffin. It seems like he kind of does this up and going a bunch. So I don't know why teams keep hiring knowing he's probably going to leave. That's their own problem. And the thing is, like, I don't really think he's that good of a coach per se. I mean, obviously he had a great season with Ole Miss. I think he's had a couple good seasons as the OC with Alabama. But I don't know. It could be better. And with how it seems like he leaves a lot for other chances and opportunities, I wouldn't take a chance on it anymore.
It's funny. His brother Chris he's like a defensive assistant on Ole Miss. I wonder if he's one of the coaches.
Maybe.
I bet he's probably one of the 4 that left. I'm sure because he took 4 with him. I just don't. I didn't see the list of the 4 that went. But I'd be shocked if his brother wasn't one of them.
Right.
Any thoughts, Sarah, on these 3 games that we talked about? We know we've talked about JMU, about where we've had them on our rankings going into this week, and the fact that it seems like the committee likes the American Conference, but the fun in this could be if Duke pulls off the upset and beats Virginia.
Oh, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And I mean, I don't know if Jack is in this chat, but I prefer rooting for Duke a little bit more than rooting for UNC. So I am totally okay with Duke being the ACC championships. I think it's great. I don't know how any Miami or Georgia Tech fans are feeling right now because it could have gone a bunch of different ways. And the fact that Duke was able to get in was just obviously still insane. I mean, they still had a pretty good season. I mean, a lot of their schedule was conference based. I think that it was like their overall got like a 7-5.
Yep, 7-5, 6-2 in the ACC.
So compared to Miami and Georgia Tech, well, yes, they're all 6-2 in the conference, but they definitely have better records than Duke. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. It happens. But I'd love to see Duke pull off the upset just because it would be kind of funny. But then I don't think they would still be able to get into the finals with it.
And for anyone that says, well, Duke should be able to get in over Tulane, don't forget they did play this year, and Tulane beat Duke 34-27. So just keep that in mind when these rankings come out, that there is actually a head-to-head between those 2 teams. So Tulane wins the American, JMU wins the Sun Belt, and Duke wins the ACC. The committee's got an easy argument to put in Tulane over Duke because Tulane beat them. So something to keep in mind as this thing rolls out here. The other 3, let's be honest, I don't really see there being, maybe, and I'll be honest with you, I'm one of the people that are looking at this game where the sense that if BYU loses a second time to Texas Tech, do they then deserve to get into the championship game? I think a lot of people feel that these 6 teams in these next 3 games are safe. I'm not so sure about BYU. If any of these teams would be not safe if they lose, I think it's BYU because then they've got 2 losses to Texas Tech. And I could see the committee look at it and say, you can't beat Texas Tech. Why do we think that you can beat any of these other teams that are going to make it?
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. But BYU, I mean, number 11, they really need to work on getting it because there are those teams that automatically get in. So,
yep.
And there could be another one out there that doesn't automatically get in, that gets in, that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah, and Texas Tech, they manhandled BYU the first time. I think especially too, if BYU doesn't make this game close, I see a scenario there where BYU does not get in. Sarah's going for the ultimate zoom up here on the picture. Like, holy moly, what are we doing there? All I saw was your nose. All right, the SEC game. Now, this is another interesting one where you got Georgia with only one loss. I think they're in no matter win or lose. You have Alabama with 2 losses. So the question for the committee will be is if Georgia beats Alabama, do they take a 3-loss Alabama team and still keep them in? Scooter,
They
what do you
probably
think?
will because they love Alabama.
But remember, last year everyone thought that, and Alabama didn't get in with 3 losses. So there are scenarios where they have not had Alabama in it.
Yeah, I think that with Georgia, I think Georgia's really that good, and they can beat totally obviously can beat Alabama. But if Alabama loses, keeps it close, hey, I mean it's Alabama, and I think like Showtime said, this is one they might win.
This one would be a little bit different too because Alabama did beat Georgia 24-21 in September. So you do have where then if Georgia wins, okay, they're 1-1 against each other too. So I think it's a little bit different than that BYU Texas Tech scenario. I do think something that Sarah said is true. We know the committee, I think they love the SEC in general, which look, I mean, in fairness, the SEC was the top conference this year. I think they deserve to have more teams in than any other conference for sure. How many? I think 7 is a little much from what some of these folks are saying out there. I think 4 to 5 kind of seems like the right answer to me. Maybe there's a way where they get 6 in. We'll see. But I think, again, unless Georgia just completely annihilates Alabama, I think Alabama's going to end up in the top 12. The one that really, honestly, if we're being truly honest, doesn't really have much impact. Both of these teams are clearly going to be in. I think both of these teams will be top 4 seeds no matter who wins or loses this game. But man, oh man, is this one going to be fun. You got 2 high-scoring offenses with great quarterbacks, great wide receivers, a possible, this could be the possible Heisman Trophy championship decider between Mendoza and Sayan because both have strong ones. They're going to go head to head. You've got teams with great receiver cores. Their defenses both have been playing really, really well this year. So here we go. You got 1 against 2, Ohio State against Indiana. The winner clearly will be the number 1 seed. I think if this game is close, which I anticipate it being close, I don't know that the loser is going to fall further than 2 or 3 with the fact that Texas A&M lost. But I think both of these teams are top 4 seeds, no matter what happens in this game, unless somebody just destroys the other team, which I don't honestly see happening.
I couldn't have said it better because that's exactly the way I say it. Heisman Trophy winners, possibly. But yeah, I think they're both are top 4 no matter what in case of a crazy, horrible game. And that would be Indiana, I think. If Ohio State had a bad game, I think they would drop to like 4, but no farther.
Sarah, what do you got?
Did Ohio win the Big Ten championship last year? Did they?
They did not. This is the first time being in the Big Ten championship game since 2021, I think it was.
Interesting.
Because they've not beaten Michigan since COVID, so they've not been in this game because they have not gotten there. So yes, so their success has been despite not being Big Ten champions.
Okay. Just trying to think. Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's probably going to be a close game. I'm sure if Ohio State becomes down 14-0, you'll post about it on Facebook saying that you guys are going to lose.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't do these things. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know nothing.
Just to let you know that you did that for the game.
I was so mad I did with Michigan game. I talked about that earlier, that I admitted that I may have had a face about Ryan Day and their ability to beat Michigan when it was only 6-0. But yeah, I was a little mad then for sure. So if you guys are watching out there in the comments, you got any comments on any of this stuff, please add them in. We'll throw them up and talk about them for sure. So especially as we get into the next fun little part here. So these were our rankings as of 11/25 last week's show, where we had everybody here. I only did the top 20 this week because I couldn't find a really fun little graphics, and this was the top 20 going into last week. So teams that you don't see that we have talked about are Tulane, which was 24. Virginia's there at 18. These are kind of the big ones that now matter going into this week. So with that being said, let's reveal where we are at with our top 12. You had Georgia at 2 and Indiana at 3. You had no changes to your top 3, Scott.
Yeah, that is accurate. I think Indiana, it'll be a close game. Georgia wins. I think the Indiana-Ohio State game is going to be close. So 1-3.
Yep. Same thing for Sarah. No changes for her top 2, which she always had Ohio State and Indiana. And there's no change for my number 1, Ohio State stay there. So we had no change with our number 1. You guys didn't have a change through 2. I had the first change, which was I did move Indiana up to 2. If you recall, I always had I had the winner of the SEC being number 2 because I thought that was going to be Texas A&M, who was also going to be undefeated. But now I move up number 2 because I think if your only loss is to Ohio State or Indiana, I think you have a strong argument to stay 1 or 2, even if you lose this game. Like I said, so unless this game is a blowout, and my gut is going to be that the committee isn't going to want the possible rematch of this to happen until the championship game. So that means that the loser is probably either going to be 2 or 3 at the earliest, because you don't want that 1-4. You're going to want them to be 2-3. That's just my gut. I just don't think that they're going to want that rematch to be any earlier than the final.
Makes sense.
If it happens.
Yeah.
All right. So, Sarah, you moved Georgia up 3, now having Georgia win the SEC.
Obviously my undefeated rank and then my 1-loss teams. I'm so sad that the Aggies lost. It's not even funny. I was so for this promised land, and then I just get absolutely obliterated. But horn 'em, I guess. Yeah. So the Georgia's been pretty good. Their 1 loss. I mean, it was to a decent team. So obviously, seeing them slowly go up my rankings throughout the how long we've been doing this. Oh my gosh.
A while now. We were ahead of the curve on this.
Yeah. So getting into where you guys are kind of standing at, this is where you kind of thought they would finish at. So I'm there now.
Yep. And I'm right there with you too. I also have Georgia number 3. I think they will win I think they'll beat Alabama. They'll win the SEC and they'll get that 3 seed for sure. Scott, your number 4 is Texas Tech, who you have winning the Big 12, and you move them up into that last bye week spot by that.
That's right. Well, once Texas A&M lost, you're going to have a little effect that jumps people up.
All right, and I think we are all actually in agreement at number 4. We do have Texas Tech at the number 4 spot across the board. We all kind of think we see them winning the Big 12. So I moved them up big time. They actually move up 3 in mine. Just with the fact that with Texas A&M losing, I think that does get them into that bye week spot now. Because I think if Alabama loses with 3 losses, I just can't see them getting a top 4 spot. So I think that's where we're all at, and we're all in agreement. Your number 5 is Ole Miss, so you actually move them up 1 with the Texas A&M loss. So you're not moving them down any for Lane Kiffin not being there.
No, it's all the guys on the field make it happen. So I think they're going to be they're going to well-deserve get this spot here because the players were the champions of this team, so they deserve to be there.
Agree. I was actually kind of hoping somehow Auburn was going to beat Alabama because I would love to see Ole Miss get into that conference championship game, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen. So now, Sarah, you put A&M down 2, so you've got A&M here now at 5.
Yeah. Obviously, had to move them down a little bit but because they did lose. But I don't know. I mean, it's just I feel like it's a comfortable place to have them. I mean, obviously they still are pretty good in the SEC. Just their 1 loss to Texas, which they should have won. Let's be so for real. They should have won. yes, we saw the chance of an upset, but they really should have pulled it off. It's Texas. Like, Texas is still good, but Texas also, oh my gosh, hello, English, has also just been very inconsistent, and unfortunately this is where Texas was consistent, and I think maybe Texas A&M kind of underestimated how that game would go, or how Texas actually plays. So yeah, I feel like 5's a comfortable spot for them.
I think what's interesting with A&M, and that's why I actually do not have them at 5, is yes, they did play Notre Dame, which it was early. That's a big game earlier. But besides that, their non-conference was non-existent. And when you look at their SEC schedule, until towards the end when they played LSU, Missouri, and Texas, they kind of avoided, like, they didn't have to play Ole Miss, they didn't have to play Alabama, they didn't have to play Georgia. So it started kind of get you wondering how good is really Texas A&M, because they didn't have to go through some of those schools in the SEC. For that reason, I keep Ole Miss and Alabama at 5 and 6. I slide A&M a little bit further down than what you have them, Sarah. Just for that reason, I agree with Scooter. I'm not going to penalize the Ole Miss players because of what happened. I still have Alabama 6 right now because they're playing in the SEC championship game. So I thought that they didn't deserve to move up or down any, and we'll see how they do in that. And Scott, you move Oregon up 1, so you have A&M sliding down 2.
They're still sliding.
Okay, and so that's where you also put Oregon. So you guys have Oregon at 6.
See?
And I think that's where they're gonna. I think they're gonna be 6, 7, somewhere in that line is probably where I think we're gonna see Oregon. And this is where you put Texas A&M. So you bring them all the way down to 7.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the last week of the season, you're not going to get in your championship game. There's going to be teams that are going to jump you that didn't lose this past week or that haven't lost recently.
Agree.
And they're going to look at that and go, hey, your late loss hurts more than their early loss.
Yeah, that's always fun with these committees where the late loss seems to hurt more than the early losses do.
Yep.
To me, a loss is a loss, but I do get that. So, Sarah, you move Ole Miss down 1. Any reason why you basically flip-flopped Oregon and Ole Miss? Any reason why you flip-flopped those two?
I mean, you guys are right with not penalizing the players for what's going on with their coaching. But I think it is still important to note that it will affect them, obviously, in some shape. Maybe it makes them completely better. Who knows? But I don't know. I feel like it's a comfortable middle ground to be like, okay, if things go wrong, it's not a huge deal. And if things go right, good for them. I don't know. I feel like 7's a good middle ground.
Is it like that question mark that drops them? Just the fact there's that big question mark drops them down a notch.
Yeah, like it's like 7 Ole
that.
Miss question mark.
Yeah, I get that.
Like...
Many question marks added up for you where you didn't kill them, but you dropped them down.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's concerning, but
right.
I don't disagree with that. I think that's fine. And this is also where I put Texas A&M. So they go down 5 for me. So they go down 7 to number 7. I think there's a lot of questions there for them now that they're going to have to try to figure out an answer, and we'll see how well they are able to answer them. And I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see where that all plays out for them as well. So now your bottom spot here, Scooter, none of these teams change. You keep Oklahoma at 8, you kept Alabama at 9, you kept Notre Dame at 10. You still have Virginia winning the ACC to get in at 11, and JMU at 12, and you got your first team out as BYU, Miami, Utah, and Vandy.
Oh, sorry, Sawcat. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I still think that James Madison, I think they're gonna put on a show, and it's gonna be too much for the committee to go, we can't keep these guys off. Plus, there's that great story. They weren't even in this position like 2 years ago.
Right.
There's that they're a real underdog. Not to say Tulane isn't, or not to say that North Texas isn't, but James Madison, come on. It's like the GMU of the Final Four.
Did you know that I've been on their field before? I performed in marching band on their field.
Really? That's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I got hit in the head with a rifle, but didn't get a concussion.
Not not a real rifle, a band rifle. I think.
Oh man, right? I'm like, oh wow,
I mean, I can do that too, but
doing a little laissez-faire with their guns down there. All right.
I think that should be pointed out that it was not a real rifle, just for anyone watching or listening at home, so that way they don't think that's what she's playing with. All right, so Sarah, you keep BYU and JMU at your 8-9. I assume this is the one lost teams, and that's where you got them at.
you'd be right. I mean, gotta show some love to JMU.
Yep. So you do have them a little bit higher there than where I am, but that's okay. My bottom four does not change either. I keep Oregon at 8, Oklahoma at 9, BYU at 10. I do think Virginia is going to win the ACC as well, and I put JMU at 12 just because as I love the story, that's where I think this team is going to be, is at 12. My first teams out now are Vandy and Miami, and I thought about this hard, and I don't know if they're watching or not, but and this is nothing against Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. My uncle was a huge Notre Dame fan before he passed, so I have nothing but love for Notre Dame. But the reason why I still can't put Notre Dame in, because I look at these two lost teams, as Oklahoma is my only two lost team that's in. Like, if you look at this, there are five. You have the five schools that have to get in. Those are the conference champions. Notre Dame can't win a conference because they decided to stay an independent. And look, I get it; they're making a lot of money being an independent. But one of these years, this may come back to bite them because they're not going to be able to get in. You lose one of these bids being up because now Texas A&M and Oregon are going to be in. They're one-loss teams. That's 7 right there. Okay, if BYU somehow pulls off an upset, that's going to be 8 teams that you have to get in that are in this thing no matter what. Then it's going to come down to Alabama and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is another one lost team, so they're in. So you've got Ole Miss that's in for sure. You've got Oregon that's in for sure. You're going to have, then it just that you're running out of spots for these teams. So of the 2 lost teams, who do I think is the best 2 lost team? I think it's Oklahoma. That's why I have Oklahoma in. Now, if BYU loses, I'm taking BYU out, but my first team in is going to be Vandy for the same reason. I just think that their wins overall are better than Notre Dame's, and I get Notre Dame is playing good football right now. They are. They've got an amazing running back who could end up being really, really special on Sundays, and they're finding their game. But Vandy has wins against Tennessee, South Carolina, Missouri, LSU, and their losses are at Texas and at Alabama. Not that Notre Dame's losses are bad; they're at Miami and they're against Texas A&M at home. But Texas A&M losing that automatic bid hurts teams like Notre Dame. They hurt teams like Vanderbilt. And my other team out would be Miami. Because again, to me, head-to-head matters. And Miami beat Notre Dame. They're both sitting there at 10-2. So if only one of those teams get in, I would put in Miami over Notre Dame, and it's just strictly because they won head-to-head. But again, right now, I don't have Miami in. I think there's only going to be 2 potential teams that fall out of this, and that would be Alabama with the 3rd loss and BYU if they get loss number 2. No one else is coming out of here, I don't believe. Unless Oklahoma doesn't make it, and you want a different 2-loss team in over Oklahoma, I can hear that argument, but that's what I mean. There's just not a lot of spots for these 2-loss teams.
Yeah, I think the committee wants Notre Dame in.
Well, I'm sure they do because they want.
They would love an Ohio State Notre Dame rematch.
I mean, let's be honest. That would happen. Notre Dame brings in the money. I am well aware of how that is, and I'm sure that plays into the committee. But I try to just look at this from the straight football side of it, of who do I think are the 12 teams that should be in there. And again, it's not that I think the Notre Dame is bad. It's not that at all. Right. It's just there's only going to be spots for so many.
That there are deserved other teams that should be in over Notre Dame. 1,000%. Notre Dame's going in.
It's like my strategy where you try to rank the undefeated, then you got to rank the 1-loss team, you got to rank the 2-loss teams. Like, I was struggling going through this because I'm like, these are a lot of good 10-2 teams. And like you said, there's no way that this won't go to 16 teams eventually because there's just so many good teams.
Agree. And let's get you finished off here, Sarah, so we get your top 12. You move Virginia up 1, winning the ACC. You put Alabama down 1, so that you slide them down to 11, and then you have 12. Now you bring Vanderbilt back in. So you took out
Ooh.
Oklahoma and you bring Vandy back in. What was your thought process on why Vandy now over Oklahoma?
They beat Tennessee. I didn't think they were going to do it. And like, obviously, like I said earlier, like I root for the underdogs. I was rooting for Vandy. And when they did have that one loss against Alabama, was it Alabama? No, who did they lose?
Vandy?
Yeah, Vandy.
Yeah, Vandy's losses are to Texas and Alabama.
Yeah. When those losses, they're not exactly bad. Obviously, it was against other, if anything, better teams in a way. But I think Tennessee was the real test, not only just with the rivalry, but just to make sure that Vandy does mean business, because the other 2 times where they faced off teams that kind of have that same where it could be very competitive with Texas and Alabama, they wanted to make sure that kind of stuck. And I think 3rd time's a charm, and they did it. And I could definitely see them in the playoffs.
I don't disagree with you. I mean, that's why I have Vandy as my 13th team right now. Where if I were to take out a team after these championship games happen, Vandy will be the team that goes in. But right now they're not in. But we'll see what happens over this next week. So there you have it, folks.
Now, you
There
see,
is
I'm
our.
just trying to suck up to the Midnight Rider. This whole thing. Notre Dame will win the whole thing. Go Sideline Junkies.
Well, and if so, not only will Midnight Rider, but also KG would definitely be thrilled with that if that ends up happening for sure. So hey, and look, they're playing great ball right now. Like I'm not taking anything away from them, and if they get in, they're a scary team that I probably wouldn't want to face. Looking at it honestly too.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that for sure. All right, so there's our top 12, folks. If you got any comments on them, feel free to throw it on in there. We saw lots of people around live watching, but we haven't gotten any comments this week, which is kind of rare. So there we have it. So there's our 12. So let's get into a little NFL real quick.
Wait.
Yep. Yes.
If you guys are concerned, NC State beat UNC, so
They did.
roll pack. But if to kind of like explain a thing, Duke is basically run North Carolina. Any North Carolina opponent they have beat. So they beat State, they beat UNC, and they beat Wake Forest. So if you are a little confused of why they are in the ACC championship, it is because they have beat at least 3 other of their opponents that are in the own state. So I'm pretty sure it would go Duke, us, Wake Forest, and then UNC, or maybe swip. I like putting UNC last, but so my NC State beat Bill Belichick, and I will live with that and die with that forever.
I will give you fairness to be able to plug that. So you got that win over Bill Belichick, which is always fun. So nothing wrong with that at all.
Who else could brag about that?
Right. All right. So real quick, NFL.
Eli Manning.
We had, well, that's true. Eli Manning definitely can brag about that for sure. A couple different times. So we had some fun games over this weekend. The NFL just continues to just throw stuff out and see what happens, and that's been what's going on here. The Thursday, going back to Thanksgiving, Green Bay takes out Detroit. Not that I'm really surprised by that, but like I put this out on the show that the guys had yesterday, like. What's going on with Detroit and Dan Campbell? Like, was he maybe more dependent on his coordinators than what we thought? Because I don't know, there's something that's missing this year with Detroit. Green Bay takes them out again. If you're a big fan of Kansas, or and the Bears, my prediction of the Bears making the playoffs, and everyone was laughing at me, thinking I was crazy. Who would be the number 1 seed? Scott, do you know in the NFC if the playoffs started today? Do you know who would be the number 1 seed?
I believe it would be the Bears.
It would be the Bears. Right, exactly. So I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts. I don't know how much longer this winning streak is going to go. They probably still won't win the Central Division, but as long as they are up there, I'm going to be gloating and gloat as much as I can.
This kind of answers your question from the just previously about Dan Campbell's assistants.
Right, because look and look,
Ah,
what really is upsetting to me about this is there was a lot of talk that Ben Johnson was going to go to the Raiders, but apparently, the boy wonder and Tom Brady didn't like him for some reason at the end, and so then he goes to Chicago, and it just again further proof that the Las Vegas Raiders and boy wonder just have no clue. Um, what the hell they're doing. I hate to wish death on a kid, but
Oh.
I just don't know that the Raiders are ever going to be good under Mark Davis. I just doesn't seem that. But now there are some rumors that he's talking about finally selling the team because of how much money he has made with moving them to Vegas. So I'm keeping my hands crossed that that happens because then but with the boy wonder, he just has no clue what he's doing. It's sad to say. All right. Dallas upsets Kansas City to keep Kansas City's slim playoff hopes slim. And don't look now, but Dallas is only a game and a half behind Philly. Any thoughts on any of these fun ones from Thursday and Friday, Scott?
well, I think first it's time we sadly have to say that we can't say that Dallas is their upsets any longer because I mean they're winning games and they give up points, but they score a lot more, so it works out well for them. Philly, they want to burn it all down up here in Philly,
Yeah.
in this whole area. They're ready to strangle the coach. Everyone needs to be fired, and they got to restart over. It's unbelievable here, and I think Detroit's good. Really good team. Green Bay is a little better, and Green Bay looks really good actually.
Real quick comment from the last game that we talked about there, Ray. Raymond chiming in. Thanks for the comments, Ray. Feels like Caleb Williams is only going to get better. I agree, and it's amazing what happens when you have a coach that I think a coach has found what Caleb Williams can do and what he can and can't do. And with that, I think those two together, along with the fact, look, they actually spent money on an offensive line. It's amazing what happens when you have an offensive line that can actually block for you as well and give you time. And the running game, with the new kid, whose name is leaving me
Kyle
right now.
Anandi.
And yes, and Swift, like that's just great stuff right there. Sarah, any thoughts on these three games?
I think for Thursday football, I went 0-3. It was really bad. I last minute predicted the Bears, and that saved me a little bit. But yeah, I was just for the Kansas City and Dallas game. I was actually rooting for a meteor to strike. I didn't want any team to win because now you're just going to hear Dallas fans being completely miserable and being like, "Oh, it's our year." Or something, and in Kansas City.
Remember, it's how about them boys? That's how they put it. I mean, we've been hearing it for years, and
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
We're still wondering about them boys, but
I don't want to wonder about those boys. I don't think about those boys. But Kansas City, I will say it is a little concerning. Not that I care. I'm all here for it, but like, what's going on?
NFL caught up a little bit on them.
Yeah.
They're a little slower. And, Travis Kelce's a little older these days.
Yeah.
He's too worried about planning his wedding right now.
It's in Newport.
I had the ticker all ready to go. I thought for sure we were getting a hate out of there somewhere, but you somehow didn't say that word. I thought for sure we were getting
for the Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, like you had every opportunity to throw it out there, and instead the counter still has to sit here at 0. Surprisingly, I thought for sure
it won't count.
No, because I egged you on. So
prices. Nothing happened.
It's known that I don't.
I know, that's why I was waiting for you to say it. I had the ticker ready to go. I changed it to 1 and everything, and then instead here we are, still sitting at 0 because womp womp womp. Anyway, all right, so. Buffalo beats Pittsburgh to my son's Jared. He was just not happy watching the second half of that game. Look, this is what Pittsburgh is. It's just it's a Mike Tomlin team. They're going to probably end up around 500. The question is they've got 2 games coming up with Baltimore that will probably dictate a lot of where things stand in that division because it's not a good division. Somehow, because Cincinnati took care of Baltimore this week, they're only 2 games back of the 2 teams and still have a chance because they play a couple of them to somehow win this division, which is crazy. But big win for Buffalo, gets them back on track.
Okay. So are we making Teddy a Steelers fan just because we can't give him the disappointment of being a Raiders fan?
That's been discussed in this house of how that's going to work, but hopefully Grandpappy will have the final say in that. So we'll see. We'll we'll see if Teddy is which way he goes. So or who knows,
What is it with you people in your family that gravitate towards teams that don't make the playoffs? Come on, they make playoffs
Carolina
Hurricanes. Excuse me, who don't win playoff games.
I was going to say, in fairness for Jared, his Steelers do make the playoffs. They just don't win a playoff game once they get there. That's the hard part for them, unfortunately. But look, I'd say at least we got the Hurricanes, but then they make.
We only win a certain amount of games and then choke in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They do at least win some playoff games, so at least we have that. So, all right, and then the upset, this Carolina Panther team, you go in and you watch them lose to San Francisco and look terrible. Then they turn around and they beat the best team in the NFC in the Rams. It was a fun game for them. I'm happy for them. And don't look now, but they're right there on Tampa Bay's heels and the NFC South, and they still play Tampa Bay twice to make that NFC South. Who would have thunk it with the Carolina Panthers in it?
Okay, so. Is Bryce Young good?
Seems to be a week-to-week question because there's yesterday he was insane against San Francisco. He's terrible. The week before that he was amazing. So it seems to be a week-by-week yes/no type. He's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type quarterback right now.
Well, Dave Canales is doing one heck of a job out there in Carolina. Keeping that team together. It could have all gone downhill real quick back then. People are like, oh, he's going to get fired and all this. And his owner's crazy. So they have one of the worst owners in the league, if not the worst now. But he's a really good coach, and he's showing it, and they have some good players on that team.
Yeah, it's interesting with Canals because it's a love-hate relationship with the fans and him because when he has the weeks where they win, he's fine, and then the weeks where they lose, they want him gone. So it's interesting there for sure. Yeah, exactly. Which I get.
There's Carolina Panther fans who really know about.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I guess they want it bad from the Cam Newton days, which I get.
Look,
so.
In a way, the Carolina Panthers are kind of like Kent State this year. We didn't expect them to be good. Any win we're getting is just kind of like.
Well, now hold on a second. I in no imagination thought that Kent State was good this year. They still were 5, and
I didn't think Carolina.
They didn't suck as bad as I thought they were going to suck. Carolina is legitimately maybe a good football team. I never confused Kent State with good football.
So is this look like the Kerry Collins transition from Carolina to the Giants? Okay.
Oh God.
Yeah. You see Kerry Collins.
Yeah, because that's what we're dealing with here for sure. So the Monday night game, I don't really think that we have much to talk about on this game, to be honest with you. You got a really bad football team in the Giants going up against the surprise on the AFC side, the New England Patriots. They've won 8 in a row. I just don't see it changing with this team. I don't see this is going to be the game that New England slips up and loses. Sorry for my Buffalo Bills fans out there. This game just has all the makings of being over with by halftime, which is good because then I can catch up on some of my other shows I need to watch.
It'll be like 10-7.
Yeah.
My Tuesdays are unoccupied now, so I guess I got to catch up too.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later on here.
It's got to be cold. It's in New England. It's got to be cold. It's windy. What's the temperature?
It's got to be in probably 30s. I don't know if they got snow up there tonight or not. I have not heard anything on the weather forecast.
Are they going to use snowplow?
Winter Storm Chan.
I would trust New England's running game over the Giants' running game if that happens either way. I think I don't see anything to give a Giants fan hope. But then again, in the NFL this year, maybe that's all they need. This is one of those games that they shouldn't win, and then it'll end up happening. So
it's the Bill Parcells Bowl.
Yep. Next week we'll dive into the NFL standings a little bit more. Again, we've done that like every other week. but I knew that the college football talk was going to run us there, so I don't want to go into the standings much. We'll do that, but there are some big games. I think Baltimore plays Pittsburgh this week. Tampa Bay and Carolina, I think, have their first meeting this week too. So we'll have a bigger picture, even more on of where these teams are at. Denver seems to be firmly in place on the AFC side. In the West, they won again last night. Washington did play them tough. I know we got a lot of Commanders fans out there, so I was impressed that Washington. I thought that game was going to be more of a blowout than it was. So hey, tip of the hat to Washington. They played them tough, took it to overtime. But it's still, if you're a Commanders fan and you're rooting for a better draft pick, you got that.
It's just a point.
Yeah. I didn't see the end of it. Did they? Because I saw it went to overtime. Did they go for 2 or did they miss the extra point?
Yeah, they went for 2.
Okay. I got no problems with that.
Yeah, I mean, 4 wins, 3 wins, whatever. You lose, okay.
Go for the win. I mean, 100%. I love that idea. Go for the win. If you don't get it, you don't get it. So I'm glad that they went for it to win. All right, a little bit of hockey. We're going to dive more into the Olympic jerseys as we get closer to the Olympics. So the Olympics are coming up in February, but Team USA did release their jerseys, and I was very happy when I saw them. Like, this is 1960s Team USA. For the most part, it's very similar to the 60 team jerseys, a little bit closer back to the 80s teams. This is the look. I was very happy when I saw these. France came out with their jerseys, which may be the worst jerseys I've ever seen. Like, it's worse than New Jersey's jersey in my view. But we'll bring up all the jerseys. Not all the teams have released them yet. Only 9 have so far. So we'll wait till they've all released their jerseys. Canada is very interesting, to say the least. But damn, do I love these Team USA jerseys.
It's fantastic. I love it. That's the only one I've seen so far. I didn't even think of the other ones, but that's a beautiful jersey.
Germany's got a nice one. Slovakia's are really, really sharp. Czechia has a really good jersey too. Canada, not thrilled with. Finland is, Sweden is typical Sweden. Like, they didn't really change that much either. Bossman agrees with these jerseys being fire, and they are. I'm not saying this, but if Slavin does make the team, which they've not talked about his health yet, but obviously if he's healthy enough to play in the Olympics, he's going to be on the team. There will be a Jacob Slavin USA hockey jersey in my wardrobe at some point.
For me?
No, for me.
For me?
No, I don't think so. That's that'd be a good paw present for him if he's on the team. I don't know that he's gonna. It's the weirdest injury where there's just been nothing out of Carolina lately about if he's starting rehab yet on the leg injury. They really haven't talked much about what it is. It's a
lower body injury, of course.
He's been out and about, so it's not like anything serious. Like, it seems like he's around the corner.
I know, but it's like, what's going on with this injury? Is it going to be there or not? Like, I just don't know. It's crazy right now where we're at. So, but speaking of injuries, I want to kind of get in. There's a nice little story posted in The Athletic. There's been a lot of injuries to start the year. Like, I don't think that there's a team that's really gotten through without somebody, a lot of bodies are just getting hurt. It's causing the chaos in the standings. Schaefer goes down and on the Islanders, and then of course they just lost another guy. God, why can I not think of his name?
I think it's Pomeroy.
Yeah, that's the guy. And this is hockey players. He blows out his leg into the boards. He's skating on one leg to the bench. The team doesn't really see him there. He's able to poke check the puck away from the guy on one leg, pass it over to a teammate who then goes in and scores. Like, I talk all the time about that. Hockey players with injuries are just built differently. And this is
that was such a cool assist too.
Yeah, like it's an amazing play, and you can see why the defender the guy that had the puck for their team clearly did not anticipate that he was going to be capable of making a play on him, and he does. He makes a play, he makes a great pass, and then they go in and score, and now he's out for the year. But it's just crazy.
I didn't know he's out for the year, but that was a great play.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, but Victor Hedman's been out. You got Charlie McAvoy, Romanoff, Lutzerainen. Jack Hughes is out. Burkowski's out. Now some of these are weird. You're having some of these guys get hurt in barbecue accidents.
True.
The Maple Leafs are missing $35 million in salary. They're addressing 5 to 6 call-ups on waiver claims right now. There is, let's see here. Man gains loss is 110 players currently are out league wide. 75 players are on IR and 21 players are on LTIR. There's just, and I think some of this is that condensed schedule, which has been condensed for the Olympics because they're building in the month-long break for the Olympics. So you got a lot more back-to-backs. You've got more 3 and 4 days. You've got a lot more even every other day, where instead of maybe, which the NHL has always done on every other day, but there's a lot more of those too. But I think if you're trying to sell the Olympics to the owners of these teams, these are the things that the owners don't like to see, because these injuries are just way up, and they're big people.
Yeah, I can't remember the last times when NHL players played in the Olympics. I know there was a condensed schedule on both sides of the Olympics, but I don't remember all the injuries. I have noticed there are more. I don't know if there's more. It just seems to be there's a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
and that's making the news. Like bigger players. Yeah. And then there's some of the freak injuries too. But yeah.
So Jack Hughes, obviously he cut his hand from
the glass.
He was later spotted on a date with singer Tate McRae. So people are kind of saying that maybe he cut his hand so he could go on his date. Also, to connect the dots, Tate McRae used to date, I think his name was Cole Sillinger. I think he might still play for the Jackets, if I'm not wrong.
No, that's Mike Sillinger's son.
Yeah. Tate McRae used to date Cole Sillinger, and they were good. Was it? No, or is it somebody? No, I think it is Tate McRae. It might actually be somebody else, but yeah. So Tate McRae and Jack Hughes might be dating. For anybody who has information.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Your NHL dating news brought to you by Showtime Sarah.
Look, I got rid of Dancing with the Stars. I gotta find another thing to get into.
You haven't got rid of Dancing with the Stars yet. You got that.
And another news: Alicia Cuthbert's 45. Her birthday was the other day. So, speaking of former NHL girlfriends.
I did not create a banner for this, but I do want to give a quick shout out. We talked about the PWHL starting last weekend. They had their second weekend of games. Seattle sold out Climate Pledge Arena for their home opener. 18,604. It's the largest crowd for a PWHL game yet. But so far, every place has had very large crowds for the PWHL games. So it's great to see. It seems to think that they have figured it out for the PWHL. We'll see how well, these standings, but I think Seattle's playing almost all their games in Climate Pledge Arena, which is where the NHL team plays. So good for Seattle, good for Vancouver. Toronto's doing really well. They're selling out their minor league stadium, which is an AHL stadium, so it still seats 14,000. It's not like it's a rink that they play in. The only one that's really, I want to say, not doing well is New York. They only had about 4,000, but again, it was a full house. They just played a smaller arena. They have not really tried a game at MSG or anything like that. So, but good for the BWHL. They seem to have figured it out. We'll see how that keeps going for them, but I'm excited for women's hockey. It's big.
Yeah, good. Yeah. It grows the sport.
I'm all about growing the sport. So the more parents I have yelling at me at the youth games is always fun. So although this weekend I had no game misconducts this weekend. That was kind of with the tournament weekend. That was kind of a surprise. So I'll take that. All right. So here it is. The finale was last weekend. Probably most people know who won, but maybe there's a chance out there for you, Sarah, that people were just waiting to watch this to find out what happened on Dancing with the Stars. So let's hear it.
Okay, all right.
I found out what happened, but I won't say.
You what?
I found out what happened and who won, but I won't say. Yeah.
So the night started off very well. So they did 3 separate dances, which I totally forgot, but they did like their dances of like something they haven't done yet, and then they basically did a rapid dance where they pick a song and they have like 15 minutes to come up with it, and then boom, perform and done. And then they have their freestyles where they basically just do whatever they want and go from there. Oh my gosh, who even started out the night? Why? Oh, Alex started out the night. She did pretty good. And then I think it was Alex, then Dylan. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember the order, but everyone did super, super great. They had everybody from the previous episode. So unfortunately, I had to see Hilaria Baldwin and Whitney Levitt on my screens again. Wasn't really prepared for that. To also get into it, they for some reason made Whitney Levitt like, okay, they didn't make her do it, but the Call Her Daddy podcast, I guess, or something, helped her do a freestyle with her partner Mark. I guess maybe just showing what she would have performed if she got into the finals, which in my opinion is kind of like a very interesting, like, I think she's trying to say I should have been in the finals, and it's like, no girl, you shouldn't have. I'm sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. I didn't really like that move by her, but whatever. I don't really like anything she does, so it's fine. And then again, seeing Hilaria on my screen, I'm just like, cucumber.
Cucumber. I don't have any in the house today.
But the freestyles are usually like my favorite because it really reflects on how the artists and like how like the dancers have like basically been doing throughout the season and like what they got. My favorite freestyle was it's probably a tie between Robert and Jordan. Robert, obviously, the first part of it seemed like he was kind of dedicating his dad, and then it went into like this kind of like this. I can't remember. They played Black and Gold, which I'm pretty sure is the White Stripes, and then it went into the Ninth by Avicii. It's a great mashup. So it was just very, very fun. And then Jordan, she was just hyping herself up. All this energy she's had the entire season, she was just letting it out, and it was great. It was a very hip hop routine. They even had Normani, which is one of the other girls that perform or has competed on the show, and like it was this whole thing. It's very, very nice. Elaine was also very good. It was kind of just recognizing her past dance history and getting the part, and she did it to I Hope I Get It from, oh my god, where was it from, Dad? Help me out. I Hope I Get It. Because it's a musical, I'm pretty sure.
Hope I Get It?
I Hope I Get It. I can't remember, but I know it's a musical about like dancers, so it was very nice.
Cabaret?
Maybe?
No, I know that wasn't a cabaret. I'm looking up for it.
But no, Alex's was also very nice. It wasn't my favorite, but the dancing was really nice, obviously. And then Dylan's also had a really nice touch to it. I think it was more sensual between the connection between him and Danielle, how they basically have connected throughout the season. A lot of people are saying like a lot of people have helped their partners.
Chorus line is the musical.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
Yes.
But no, so the rankings go as last place Elaine, fourth place Dylan, third place Jordan. Do we want to guess who won Dancing with the Stars?
I already know, so.
Dad, did you find out already?
I did. Hannah and I talked about it at Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. It was great. So Robert Irwin is your season 34 Dancing with the Stars champion, exactly 10 years after his sister Bendy won. It's a great full circle moment, I think. Very, very nice. Well done. Whitney, well deserved. Obviously kudos to Alex and everybody else who performed because they deserved it too. Like it was a great finale. I don't really remember the cast being as good as it was, other than some certain members.
Cat's ass.
There. That's what you just there.
I got dog nose, but that's fine.
Yes, I know. He does not want to sit. He's not cooperating. All right. So that was the winner, which I was glad to see that he won it too. He's kind of who I was rooting for to win it as well. Was there any reveals of casts for next season or anything like that they sometimes do that at the end?
No, the only thing is they added, so they have their tour coming up and they have certain celebrities perform in certain areas. I can't remember who they had performing for the one near me, but I know Daniela's in a lot, or Danielle Fishel's in a lot of them. Um, I think it might be Elaine that's coming to where I am, so I'm debating if I try to go to that. Um,
Are they doing Are they doing Lenovo Center? The big? Or are they going
no,
somewhere
they're
else?
doing DPAC.
DPAC. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing DPAC. I know.
Cool.
I think they're coming to Akron too.
Yeah, I saw that. That I'm sure.
Oh.
I'm sure DPAC will be a very expensive ticket.
I know. That's why I'm like, should I do it? If it was like Jordan or obviously Robert performing, I would have been like, oh yeah, sign me up. But then I'm like, Elaine Hendricks, I love her. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, I think it's just Elaine. If it was like two of them, even if it was Dylan or Alex, I probably would have been a little bit more. But it's just one person, so I'm just like,
All right,
maybe.
great. Well, yeah, it's a lot of money to spend if they don't have people going that you want to see for sure. So
It
so
was
overall, it
funny.
sounds like no surprise to you of who won and the
No,
top three. Sounds like you were in agreement with the judges on the top three.
yeah, I would say so. I mean, I can almost argue that you could put Jordan in second place, but it's such a close in between Alex and Jordan that I could see why they put Jordan at 3-2. Alex has kind of been more consistent, so if they were looking at that, it makes sense to put Alex at 2. But you could almost switch Jordan and Alex around. Obviously, seeing Jordan get closer would have made me feel better about it.
Boss man is asking what your dog thought of it.
I know the dog is cute.
He's currently snoozing. I don't really know if he really cares. It was a 3-hour finale, so I was up. I had to work the next morning too. I'm pretty sure. So it was rough. I'm pretty sure he was falling asleep to it, so it's fine. I was trying to get Ash to watch with me, and they didn't really that much, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
That's okay. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. There's our Dancing with the Stars finale update. So thanks, Sarah, for doing that throughout the year. It was, I know Midnight Rider enjoyed it all the time. So he was
Gotta
looking
find
forward
something
to that.
else now.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to find a new bit for you. So, well, let's start wrapping this thing up here a little bit.
1980s movies. You can report it back to us on who we know about these movies.
Yes.
Ones that you haven't seen.
Yeah,
or just like continue my pop culture and try to compare NHL player certain things to similar.
Sarah's been here on Thanksgiving for when Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is on, and she knows how I get when I watch that movie, especially the rental car scene. I can quote it all almost verbatim, but then B, it's just so great from our old Enterprise days too. It's like, yep, I've been on that side of the counter when somebody comes up like that. But man, that's just one of the great scenes of all time.
That's right. It is.
All right. So next week's show, we're tentatively going to say Monday, December 8th. Teddy is due next week, so we're going to have to see when Teddy decides to come. So there's a possibility we may have to be flexible with that date and time, but we will have a show next week because we have to give our finale of our rankings of where everyone where we think our college teams are going to be at. I am closer to having that special edition of Drive Time ready on his legalized gambling ruining sports, so we'll get into that probably next week too. I don't know exactly the date and time of that yet, but it might be the week after that once we get done. All right, Chester, you're just killing me. You're gonna come here. And then we're going to get in a little bit more into the NHL news as well. So we got a lot coming up down the road on the show. Just hang out with us, and I appreciate everyone that does check out the show. And for those that don't know, let me pull this back up here too. But we are officially again on a lot of the podcast networks. We've got we're on Spotify. You can actually get us now through Amazon's podcast as well, and Odyssey. Anywhere you can check out a podcast, you can see it. And then Scooter's modeling one of our new shirt shows, and Sarah, I have yours here, so yours came here, so we got a shirt here for you too. So we are coming up. And speaking of, hey, where can you? Why would you want to check us out? Well, we pretty much have shows all over the place now. I mean, it's crazy the amount of content that we have. I mean, I'm hitting a year anniversary almost. It's going to be a year coming up here. I got to look back to when that first episode was. I know it was during the playoffs last year, so I think it was January of last year whenever we hit that first show. So we'll be coming up on a 1 year anniversary of Drive Time, which is just crazy to think that I've already been doing it for a year. But then you got the rest of them. You got Pretenders and Contenders coming up tonight. Coach Powell will be on with the Gentleman Jack at 7. That's a very local based high school sports show, but great stuff on there. It's one of my favorite shows that we have. Unapologetic Sports is kicking it. They've had a few episodes. The guys are just great. It's just a fun show at 6:30. Then you got the Tuesday Night Flight around 7:45. Nothing But Net Wednesdays. Then you got In the Passenger Seat. Then you got Thursday Night Throwdown, The Gridiron on Saturday, WrestleManiacs, which is the show that started it all, on Saturday nights. And then the Sunday Morning Rise gets you ready for the NFL week that is. So that is a lot of stuff that we have on the plate. Anything you guys have here for the end? Anything else you guys want to chit chat on before we say adieu?
This Saturday at 6 p.m., I'm going to be at the Kent State versus University of Delaware hockey team, men's hockey team, and that should be fun. It's a first responder night, so there's going to be a lot of cops and firefighters that I know. So that should be really fun, and I'm going to be representing the Sideline Junkies.
Yeah, that's for those that don't know, that's ACHA hockey, which is what they call club hockey. So it's not Division I or Division II hockey, which Kent State does not have. They used to have a Division I team that played in the old CCHA, but that's no longer in existence. Bowling Green was able to keep their team alive. But I think that's the D1, the one team, which Kent State's they have different club levels. Kent State actually has 2 club level teams, a 1 and a 3. I think that's the one that's going up there, which I don't think they're that good, honestly. But I don't follow them that closely. But it's
can't wait. It should be a fun game to go to.
It's what we call glorified beer league, because they all pay to play. But it's still fun. I've reffed a few of the games here. They get a little feisty at times, which is always interesting. I just try to stay alive and get through the evening, and then I'm happy with that. So. I do think, though, one last thing I do want to bring up is because, look, we are a sports talk show, but, I think there's a lot of pop icons, and the show did release this week its first 4 episodes of the final season in Stranger Things. Are any of you guys Stranger Things fans out there?
I've only watched the first episode of the new season, so I don't have much to say, but
we don't want to give any spoilers in case anyone watches it.
I'll just say they did not waste time getting to the point.
No, it's such a good show.
I've watched all the seasons up to this way, but what channel is it?
Netflix.
Yeah, of course. The one I don't have. The last place I had it. So.
First four released. If you're a fan of the show and you somehow have not watched any of them yet, it's a great the first 4 episodes are, like Sarah said, they did not waste time, and the 4th episode is just spectacular. You'll love it. All right. So with that, folks, I think it's time to wrap it up here so that the guys can get ready for their show at 7. But we thank everyone for the comments and stuff. And we'll see you guys next week. Like I always say, make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them, because tomorrow's not guaranteed. But hopefully we'll see you all next week. Until then, for everyone else, good grief, that's a lot. Sarah and her animals. And we will say peace out.